First of all, thank you very much for doing this. Let's go ahead and start with day one. The question I ask everybody: where were you born and raised?
I was born in a small ranchito. It's called La Hierbabuena in the state of Jalisco, Mexico.
Yeah, my mom's from Guadalajara, and she's from Tecolotlan.
Oh, yeah. I'm like 1 hour south of Tecolotlan.
And what was it like being raised there?
Well, I came out at a very early age. I was 8 years old, but just living there, 8 years is a lot, because I remember so much. Totally a different world than not here. Over there, now obviously the way of life has changed, but when I was over there, when I was born, when I was a little kid, it was very different than out here. Over there, kids were getting married when they were kids. Children were having children, but yet because of the responsibilities that they had, they grew up at a very fast age. Over there, at 14, kids were already having kids. For instance, I come from a large family. I have 7 sisters, 6 brothers, and we're 13 in the family. And my mom had a first son at, I think, age was 14. Again, I said they start having kids at an early age and they grow up fast because of their responsibilities. So the lack of education, I think, where we come from, most of us knew each other. It was like sort of like a village. We didn't have running water. We didn't have restrooms. The restroom was out in the mountains or in the field. There was sort of like, I guess I should say that the school that we had was called it a school because we would all meet there with the teacher that sometimes would come over from a nearby town, like a half-hour away. Teacher would drive his car and teach us like once a week, and to really teach us the basics, because all we were required to learn was to read and to do sums, which is like add and multiply the math for our parents, the ones that were selling land or cow or something. So basically, that was our whole little world there. We called it El Rancho, La Hierbabuena. Called it El Rancho. We didn't know any better, so that's probably why we didn't have that big of a dream. The only big dream that we had was like we heard of El Norte because of our older brothers that had come out here. That when we were born, we didn't know them. We didn't know our older side of the family, brothers and sisters. But we would hear about all the other kids in the ranch. We hear about El Norte. We dreamed of it, but really without knowing what it looked like. We had no books or anything to have an idea, but we just sort of heard of that. And like I said, the responsibility that we had to grow up. Over there, it's like a must. It's not even a responsibility. Age doesn't matter. Over here in the United States, or maybe more states, it's called child abuse. Over there, like I said, because of responsibilities, you have to, because things that you have to do them. There's no other choice. If you're cold over there, like when we would be cold in the mornings, to go take care of the cattle, to go to the river, like you're cold, and like I'll never forget one morning I told my dad I was very cold, and he says, "What do you want me to do?" That's pretty cold, but that's I love my dad and everything. He wasn't a bad person because he said that. It's just that we lacked the education that city people had, even in Mexico or other countries, but we didn't know any better. So when you don't know any better, in sort of a way, it's good and it's bad, but it's like everything else.
I think psychologically, you probably got strong quick in life because, like you said, you didn't get all the yeses that kids get nowadays from your parents. And at the same time, like you said, you were cold, and physically, you had to be strong also.
Yes, mentally, it's like you grew up fast. You grew up fast. At the age of 10, 12, you're already doing stuff that adults here do. They would send us to the mountains for a day or two, and without no food or nothing, we'd have to kill a rabbit or something, or do whatever we had to do. That's just the way of life over there. I might sound crazy, but believe me, sometimes I miss it so much because, it's just so different than out here, Like a lot of times my mom would tell me, "Gosh, Gabriel, how can you say that? You have it so great out here compared to over there." I'm like, "My mom, you don't understand, It's like, we all miss it when we don't have what we used to have."
And what were you like as a kid growing up?
I was pretty shy. I used to get beat up by these kids in the ranch all the time. My brother and I were, most of the kids there in the ranch, they thought they were the toughest. I think because of that, we got beaten up all the time by these kids. We lacked the confidence. I never imagined I would ever become a fighter, but, I had a lot of rage because we get beat up all the time as kids, as even 7 years old. But when you grow up in a place where you do what you have to do, I wouldn't suggest that to kids out here, even my kids. I don't tell them to go by those rules, but Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do tell them, hey, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. They're like, well, Dad, you're in the United States. Isn't that why you came to this country? That's when they shut me up because I'm biting my tongue. It's like they so know what to tell me.
Did they put you like to work really early in life?
Yeah, I mean, we just knew the chores, but we just knew what we had to do. In the morning when we wake up, we'd have to go to mountains nearby, and we knew what cows to take to the river to drink water and give them food, which was big pieces of salt and some corn, and just, put it out there. And sometimes, our dad would say, hey, I want to milk this cow, so go get her for me. We look for her and bring her down to the rancho, from the mountains to the ranch, my brother and I, Rafael and I. Sometimes we get hungry up there, over there, we're on our way, or see some houses and, house here, house there. We'd ask them, hey, can I buy an egg or two from you, from a chicken, just because we were hungry. And if we didn't see anybody, sometimes we'd kill the chicken on the way, and we just, cook it on the way and eat it, just like that. We were mountain people. We were, I don't know how else to say it. It's like Indians, like back in the days. Just like we just knew it, like nature. When you grow up around that, you just learn.
What do you remember of, like you said, you lived up in the mountains? When you were up on a mountain looking down, what did you think of the world?
Gosh, when you don't know any better and you know so little, it's so great because you don't have all those worries. That's a great memory to have. Oh yeah, it's like you didn't worry about anything. I never. I'm telling you, it was so different. It was so different.
And you said you had a teacher that used to go down and teach you guys like maybe once a week or so. Do you remember learning pretty quick when she did go down there to teach you or whatever?
No, I was so. I guess because I'll never forget. Since being a kid, I just always used to hear "bueno para nada," good for nothing. And it's sad, and it's something that I guess is just a lesson that, I mean, not to ever say that to my kids whenever I had kids, because that took away confidence of mine, and that also, in a way, it didn't help me, but it kept me from wanting to learn something. I really believed that I was good for nothing. So whenever they told me to do something, I thought that was my reason not to do it at all, not to even try. I'm like, well, you told me that no sirvo para nada, so what do you want me to do? That I would tell my dad. I was pretty bad. I felt bad at everything. Even, like I said, even in fights there with the other kids, I just felt whatever. Until I came out here, even for especially for school, I think I was pretty bad. And it was always so much harder when you have a brother that's only 10 months than you, that he's excelling in everything. It was much harder because it's like a reflection right there, right in my face, like for my family to always point it out to, like, why can't you do it like not only like him, but look what he does.
What do you remember about coming here, or like your first while here? What do you remember about what life was and how different it was from what you were used to being raised over there in Mexico?
We tried, to sort of live the same way in a way because, like I said, right as we came out here, that we wanted to work. We were 8 years old, 9 years old, and we wanted to work. We wanted to. It's just that we didn't know the language. I remember. I think we had been here maybe 2-3 years, and I told my brother Rafael. I said, why don't we get a job to help? But this job offer that we saw on the post, he said you had to speak English. And I'll never forget. I think it was like one of the days, of course, going to school. I asked the teacher. I said, how do you say you want to buy some candy in English? And he was an ESL teacher, a Spanish lady, and she told me how, and we got a job like that with just those words, and we would make $5-10 selling candy, and it was something very different, something that I'll never forget, and something.
And you guys were raised in Silmar, you said?
Silmar, the valley, really, Arlita, all those areas, they're right next to each other. The first place we came to was Sun Valley.
And what were your first memories of the sport of boxing?
We have an older brother that even when we were in Mexico, our oldest side of the family, brothers and sisters, they sent a letter to Mexico saying, that they wanted us to come out here to the States. They didn't want us to come out to the States as older men or like they came out here, because they came out, my older brothers and sisters, they came out to the States directly to work. But they wanted us to come out here at a young age so we would be able to get the education that they weren't able to get. So that's what they wanted to come out here. But one of my brothers who used to fight, he had about 8 professional fights. He's the one that told my sisters, well, I want them to be fighters. I want them to come out here early at a young age and dedicate themselves to this. They were like, are you crazy? No way. There's no way. We want them to have the education like the whole family does. We want, all of us came here to work, just directly to work. We want them to come out here and get an education. And so he was like, no, I'm gonna teach him how to fight. So that's how we sort of, we came out here. The older brothers and sisters got money together. They sent for us, for my brother, myself, and another sister. We came out here, and obviously education was first. But once we were going to school, my brother, who was sort of still fighting, I guess we didn't see any of his fights, but he would taught us the basics, how to fight, and he would take us to this like on Fridays to school. He imagined like he would pick us up at school, and then take a pair of boxing gloves, and then he would tell us, okay, come on. Then obviously after school, a lot of kids, they want to show off for their girlfriends or for their friends or someone else. My brother, I just thought of just like to throw a 1-2, and he would just show up there, and then he would tell us, okay, come on. And of course, other show-off kids want to show off for whomever bigger than us, and of course they want to box with us, so we'd have to do it not every day, but a lot of times, and that's how we started. I guess liking it, because my brother would teach us, and then we would be able to beat up bigger kids than us in school, and that's when we started getting respect at school. So that way, kids wouldn't mess with us.
Do you remember when the first time you sparred was?
Gosh, first time, well, it was with my brother. It was with my brother. The hardest sparring, though, not that day, but most of the time. Even as we grew up to be professionals, we try to take our heads off.
What was it like training as a boxer? Was it hard for you at first, or did it come kind of naturally?
I don't know how it just came naturally. Maybe because we just, especially for me, I think because I just thought that's the only thing in my life that, especially at that time in my life, I felt it being approved by everyone, by people that saw me doing it. I was so used to hearing or seeing negative feedback. Everything was like, even in school, my grades were never good. They were worse when you would compare them to my brother. So it was pretty bad. But yeah, when I would hit the bag or do some boxing drills, like for my older brother, he would always say, hey, great. With my brother, he would always have to work at it more. With me, it's like somehow I just caught it like right off the bat, and it was I'll never forget that, seeing people just doing their gestures, their positive gestures that were clapping at what I was doing. It was the first positive thing that I remember, like in my life as a kid, seeing, and it was a great feeling, because then that's when I decided, I thought, okay, well, if ever, even my parents, they told me that I was good for nothing, and I obviously believed it, or everyone else. But yet, I see all these people, and then they show me a positive. Then, if I am good for that to fight, then I'm just gonna dedicate my life to it. I'm gonna do everything that I have to do it. That's in my power to. That I was feeling that I excel in, that I felt accepted by people. Pretty big for me.
You finally found where you got respect.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And at what point or when did you start your amateur career?
Gosh, I was probably like 14 years old. I could be wrong, but I think it was like 49 and like 4 losses. My first loss, I lost it to a guy that has 99 wins with 1 loss. That was my first tournament, the Blue and Gold tournament. It was in 1984. I was at the Olympic Auditorium. I beat a kid with that record, like 99 and 1. They didn't even want to let me fight him because they thought he was way too nationally experienced. And it was like my 4th fight, so they were saying, how could I be in a tournament like that when I only had 4 fights? And I remember my trainer just saying, hey, just let him in the tournament. And I beat this kid. That was one of my most memorable things. That's where I was. I just felt. It's just because with our trainer, we in the gym, we We didn't have a lot of fights, but yet we started. We learned the basics. We learned everything with throw us in the ring to spar with professionals in the gym. It's in a way sad, but that's the way that I was. I thought I'm gonna do it in my way. That's why I guess I've always loved that song of Sinatra. I did it my way.
When did you decide to go pro?
Since starting boxing, I just knew that that was it. That was the only thing that I felt positive at, and the only thing that I felt the people approved of me to do that I was good at. I was so sure that I would end up in a jail. Because once I learned how to fight, once I just looked for fights in school. I mean, I couldn't wait. The weekend came, and man, I couldn't wait till Monday came to go look for a fight in school. I was friends with all the guys in gangs, different gangs in school, because I knew they would have fights like after school, or they would meet somewhere like lunch. And I'm always asking like my friends or other kids like, hey, where is someone getting in a fight or something? Because I would keep this, I would beat them up. I already knew how to fight, and especially I would look for the biggest kids in school. That's how I started getting my respect. I would look for a fight with the biggest kids in school. That way, I would get the respect from most of them.
You had like fighting in your heart then at that time, and
Oh yeah, man, I was mad at people. I was mad at
at the world.
like
Yeah.
mad at the world. I felt mad, and I didn't care. I didn't care if I didn't care if someone shot me, killed me, because I had friends that got shot. I mean, I was a young kid, but yet some of them got killed. So I know that I know a lot of them. They're dead now. I know. I mean, I just spoke with someone that I haven't seen like in 20 something years, and we were talking about like the old friends from back then, and most of them are dead. They're like, hey, do you remember this guy? I'm like, yeah, yeah, they're dead.
What do you think would have happened to you if you didn't go into boxing?
I knew I would be for sure dead, or I always saw myself in jail because I wanted to be a troublemaker. I wanted things to go my way. If they didn't go my way, they went the right way. I didn't like going by the rules are made. I just always thought, even though I was a kid, I felt I knew too much. I knew more than the average person. I that just because I looked like a kid, they thought I was a kid, and I felt older than a kid. I felt the rules people put them because to make the life easier for them. I just felt don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. It's like I grew up believing that rules can be broken. You just gotta know how to do it. Especially when I was drinking. Right now, I'm going on what is it? I'm going on about 6 months over now. That's the only thing that I never, which is something, Albert, that I never imagined in a million years that I would end up becoming an alcoholic. I mean, never dreamed of it. Luckily, I did it way after my boxing career. But in my whole boxing career, I never once like had a drink, or I didn't drink. I didn't like drinking.
And like let's say like when you were drinking or you were at that point, how were you? Were you violent? Were you quiet? How were you?
Oh, I'm very quiet. I'm a very quiet person. I'm drinking. Yeah, I had a lot of pain in me. I know. I just I got separated from my wife, and I think the number one thing was probably I think it was Jimmy Garcia. I was carried that in me, and after the Jimmy Garcia fight, even my wife, my promoter, who was Dan Goosen and Bob Arum, they all thought that maybe that I should take a lighter fight, or that I should maybe wait more. And I just felt, because I had done so many interviews, I had done so much stuff for the press for Jimmy Garcia's family, that I just felt like I couldn't stop the ball from rolling. I just felt, oh my God, I'm so like with this stuff, I'm so like in a way fed up, because I thought, I felt like I was fighting Jimmy Garcia before the fight, because everything, it wasn't about Jimmy Garcia. Everything was about I mean, just I'm sorry, about Nelson.
Yeah.
But that when I fought Jimmy Garcia, everything was about Jimmy Garcia. When I was fighting Azuma Nelson, it felt like I was fighting Jimmy. When that happened, I just thought, this I just felt that was it. I was just trying to I guess bring that fire that I used to have. But once that thing happened to Jimmy, once he died, passed, I felt this is it. And then I was trying to now after that, I just I myself looking, I guess, for ways to hurt myself. When I
Well,
mean,
he had got knocked out, didn't he? Like about 4, 5, 6 weeks before, by Gennaro Hernandez. And wouldn't it have been, let's say, the athletic commission to have researched that and prevented him from fighting at all? And because they did, it fell on your lap. You did the fight, did
well,
what you have to do as a boxer, and fought. But
yeah,
wasn't that their job to research that and keep him from fighting? Period. And maybe that wouldn't have happened and changed your life completely.
well, Albert, believe me, I thought of it many times because I never really felt responsible all the way. I just felt that if I have to point fingers, that I could point fingers at so many people, at the boxing fans, because if it wasn't for boxing fans, we wouldn't become fighters. We wouldn't be fighters at the networks, at everyone. But yeah, when it happens to you, it's like you know. You can't understand unless it would happen to you. If you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, it's like when becoming a father for the first time. When you are, you can tell your friend or someone how it feels, but he won't truly know or what it feels like until he becomes a father. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
There's something that you can't cope with until you go through it. I just felt I was very, believe me. I mean, it's a long story because I'm like one of the worst people that this could happen to because I come from a big family, but from all of them, I probably all my family would probably agree with you that I'm the mama's boy, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, I'm someone that my mom is. I mean, to this day, I mean, I'm a mama's boy, and everything. I would take my mom everywhere, every even. I mean, I always told my wife, this is, my mom this, my mom that, my mom that, and it's like, I mean, the best thing my wife ever said to me. I hope that when we have kids, before we have kids, that they grow up to be like you, that they never want to leave their mom, and I was like that. So going back to why what happened to me, I think it was because when Jimmy was dying, his mom, who hadn't even come to his fight, I think she had never been to any of his fights. She was there in the, I mean, right away, or can you imagine, or to meet her? I meet her. They bring this lady that looks like sort of like my mom, because it was his first time getting, I guess, out of the country where she came from. She came with the rebozo, with the over her head, like a lady. You could tell where she was coming from. I put my mom in her place, and the tears that I saw, I'll never forget the way she was crying, the way she was looking at me. And on the other side, like the bed, it's me. That's what I mean, the time, the place to for someone to introduce me to her. I mean, and she's crying so much, and me, I mean, my heart is broken because I'm thinking of my mom. I see my mom in her, you know, in the way she was looking at me. It was a very unexplainable look that she gave me. It was pain, it was hurt, and she was just breaking my heart. I don't think that she knew what I was feeling, or else I couldn't blame her. I couldn't blame her. So, I just saw my mom. I just saw my mom, and I felt so guilty. I felt, I try to sort of reach out for her. Just, I don't know what to do. Do you shake her hand? What do you do? When you meet someone, or I mean, but look at the situation that I was put in, and she was crying. She took a step back, and as I sort of, you know, went forward, walked back forward towards her, and she says to me, she the whole time she was looking at my hands, I felt like hiding my hands because I was like, wow. And she says, I can't touch she says, I can't touch the hands that killed my son. So when she said that, I mean, it was a double like punch to me because I was already heartbroken. But then when she said those words to me, like I'll never forget. I mean, and I was like, oh my god. And I'm the worst person that she could have said this to because, like I said, the relationship, the closeness that I had with my mom. I mean, my brothers, and I mean, even my brother Rafael says, or we all in the family say, this had happened to Rafael, this, it wouldn't have affected him the way it did to Gabriel because just the way we were very different. My brother and I, we were only 10 months apart, but we're like night and day. We're like night and day. It's like he probably would just say, like he told me after the fight, he's like, "Oh, Gabriel, hey, it's just a fight." I mean, can you imagine? Hey, it's just a fight. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Of course, we all know that going to the sport that it's possible. It's a possibility that could happen, but you never think that it's gonna happen to you. And like I say, when until it happens to you or to anybody because always, you know, I see that tension of people or something when that they. I mean, unfortunately, that's what I'm known for. Like now that's the person that killed the guy. When I hear so many whispers wherever I go. I mean, this is nonstop. This is always happening. Unfortunately, it's like a label. That I carry on now. That I see people talking sometimes about me, and sometimes they're like, "Hey, be careful what you say," or someone says, "Hey, hey, cabron," they tell that to someone else. Hey, don't mention that fight, or don't say that. And I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. I've already. Unfortunately, I had to accept it as part of my life, and it is what it is. That many years I dealt with that. I really found the cure. Through a book that I co-wrote with the writer. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Business of Pain, El Negocio del Dolor. I believe in God. I pray a lot. I don't go to church. I never like going to church, but I have my own beliefs with God, and I do my praying by myself. I don't believe in God, but I mean by other people. I believe in God by what I've been through. Maybe that's why they're reading a book about me. Maybe that's why they're doing a movie. But at the same time, I feel alone. I feel out there by myself. Because I even though I did live here in the States, I'm trying to walk in the right path, in the right the path that I was supposed to.
Right,
And
the straight line.
yeah, the straight line. Yeah, thank you. This person that wrote the book about me now went off. We were supposed to both do it, both of us together. Now she saw it. I think she's right now. She's like in Guadalajara at some book fair, and getting all this. She's already gotten I don't know how many different awards, for the book, and she keeps telling people just. I guess that I'm not available, that I'm busy or something, but with just just lies, lies, and even having the WBC helper or it's just it's like I said, one thing that what that I learned before even learning the language when I came to the United States, Albert, was who you know in this country, or I guess any country, it does a lot, and I myself saw it because, like I said, a lot of times I didn't get pulled over because of who I was. They would recognize me, they would let me go, they would give me a break. It has helped me tremendously, but there's the bad side to it also. I mean,
When you were fighting Jimmy Garcia and they stopped the fight right there in front of you and he was, of course, hurt, did you know or did you imagine that he was hurt like he was? Or did you just figure he's going to get back up and everything was going to be fine like it had been in all your other fights?
yeah, I thought that because that's what we're used to seeing, in most fights, But I just thought I was surprised of how many of how he could take so many punches because my hands were hurting me from hitting him.
But did you know that he was as hurt as he was and he was going to be taken?
No, I don't know. I didn't know he was that hurt. I thought he would be fine like the next day.
Did you go to his services and his funeral and all that?
No, I didn't go there. There was a lot of I guess that's when the proposition I think 187 was going on, and even the governor or something they called Tengus at that time, the company, to tell them something that it wasn't a good idea for me to go to the burial, that about 70,000 people went to the service, and just a lot of that it wasn't a good idea for me to go over there.
And did you ever talk to the family after all that happened?
Yeah, I spoke with them. I found peace with them, because many years it bothered me a lot, and but his mom I haven't spoken to. I spoken with a couple of sisters of his. Had a very hard time just trying to speak with them on the phone, and just emotionally, it's when I'm sort of that's how I guess I had to accept, or I had to see that I have a problem because of that happening. I mean, uh, one of the first times that I remember that I spoke to one of the sisters, I just started crying when I was on the phone, and I couldn't believe it because I thought, oh, I don't cry for any. And I could not breathe. Also, I could not breathe. I was on the phone, and I didn't want her to listen to me, so I would hold the phone away from my ear as I was crying, but yet I couldn't breathe. And my wife from the room, she saw it, and she couldn't believe it. Well, she could believe it because you know she's the one that's closest to me, and she just knew it. I didn't want to accept it because she kept wanting me to go to therapy so many times, and the times that that she did almost force me to go to with her, I would go in it with the negative. In a negative way that I wouldn't listen to the therapist. I thought that I didn't need that. I thought that I was not necessarily too good for it, but I thought, hey, I come from El Rancho. We don't believe in that therapy. We don't do that stuff. We just I wasn't dealing with it. I would go, but just to fake it out, just to hide it, hide it. I thought no one could see that I had a problem. I thought, that they could send me to 100 therapists, and yet still keep it from them. That it was only myself in it. That I didn't want anyone else involved, but I guess without me knowing, I did involve my wife, my kids, and people around me. Because I guess people could see that I had a problem. Whichever way or whatever, I think it's like it's already took away so many years. I feel like it took my life. I know I'm alive, thank God, but it took so much from me that that's what leads me to live, I guess, the way I live, and I'm just trying with help of other people, trying to stay on the right path because sometimes I live so dangerously that it's like I just say, what the fuck, I mean, what? I mean, I've gone through everything. I've done through everything that I feel like I'm in my own pain myself, and that I only know besides anybody. And sometimes I don't want, I don't want my kids, I don't want my family to know myself because I feel like ashamed. I don't like I tell my kids sometimes. A lot of times I didn't want to tell them of certain things. I don't want to associate my because I'm embarrassed. I feel bad of what happened. I mean, and I'm like, why do I have to feel bad? I mean, that's just the way I am. I feel. I mean, that's someone I really feel that it's the mom, but I already got her forgiveness. But yet, I feel bad all these years until, like I said, until I read that book because I saw all the. I didn't know of all these happenings, of all these things that happened before Jimmy fought me. See, I didn't know of anything. The publisher of the book went out and did all these interviews. She did the book, and I didn't even finish my own book. Reading the book, had I read it, I was so mad at myself until one day I finally read it, and I felt. That's when I finally felt peace that I found peace with myself within myself because I read interviews that she did with these people with these relatives of Jimmy Garcia of things that that he had a brain injury before my fight that he was bleeding from the brain that they were able to hide that from the doctor to be able to be approved for my fight. I was so mad because I was like, oh my god, how could the doctors or how could someone but I mean, boxing, I know that who you know, it can get you, it can get you a lot, it can get you into a lot of places because I know myself, I've seen it myself. I mean, I just feel that had I known all that stuff, I wouldn't have felt responsible like I've always gone my most of my life, believing that I was responsible. I thought had I known all this stuff that went on, which a lot of people don't, I had to find out through interviews that the publisher did on my book, and I thought, oh my God, all that the answer that I thought that in this lifetime I would never get, that I have to probably die to find until whatever happens after death, that I would probably find it there. I thought in this lifetime I would never find the peace or really feel forgiven because even though the mom through her daughters, um, by me talking to the phone with them, they told me that they forgive me, that they don't fault, that They don't blame me. They nothing. I really didn't feel uh, forgiven or anything. I felt nothing that no matter said that even my mom or anybody would tell me, Gabriel, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I never really just. I was just stubborn. I was gonna hold on to that it's my own pain. It's my own. In you know, I never imagined that by me reading my own book, my own things that people didn't know that I didn't know myself that happened before Jimmy even fought me. That how he could get to be approved to fight me. He was already hurt. So in that way, it was so gainful for myself. So gainful. But it's like I mean, this is a person me that I thought I was gonna die at a young age, and now my career has been over for many years, and it's like what do I do now? It's like shit, thanks a lot. Thanks
Gabriel,
a lot.
Gabriel, you never thought of going after the athletic commission for letting it go, having the fight happen. That fight changed your life, obviously, like you're saying, in every way. That's
Uh,
what.
no, because I never
Not
no.
only that, the commission is all screwed up. I mean,
No, but
people say it's
Albert, but what's done is done. It's like me doing. I'm not. My life has already been so like messed up in a way, but by all that bullshit, really. I mean that one. I mean, I feel like it's already done. It's already. Nah, I'm just. I. This is. I never felt like I said that I would in this lifetime that I would find that the peace that I have within myself with that
but
because
right. I
that
understand.
made me I drove. I mean, I did anything to try to get in trouble, man. Luckily I'm not dead or I'm in jail yet.
Yeah,
But
and I agree with you. What I'm saying is, forget about like any money or anything you might get. Obviously, forget about that. But I'm saying the athletic commission is so messed up and corrupt, from what 100 people have told me. And wouldn't this be a way to kind of so they can straighten things out so it won't happen to someone else and someone else won't fall in the same shoes that you're going through and mess up their life?
yeah, but this is gonna be like a thing of it's like in the can of worms. I'm only one guy. I mean, to open this thing again. I mean, to try to bring the Jimmy Garcia, all that is like I don't want it. That ruined my life. I'm sorry to say that ruined so much of my life that I don't want to talk. I don't want. I mean, I'm doing the interview with you, and I'll do as many interviews as I'm gonna do, but it's only gonna be because I want to do them, not because of Jimmy, not because of. I don't feel I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel. I mean, me. He's dead. I'm here. I'm dealing with it. Fortunately, that now I think I feel that I found the cure. But I have to deal with all this stuff. People out there, people are the ones that, like you said, the commission isn't there a way to get them to. Maybe there is, but you know what? I mean, I can't worry about that. I mean, if you call me selfish, it's okay. But look, what have they done for me? I don't. What has anyone else done for me? I'm just left out there, and it's okay because I grew up thinking that I was by myself, thinking, even when you have a big family, at the end of the day, I mean, I mean, that's just the way that I think. I feel like about. I mean, I'm not 24 again. I'm not. That doesn't come back.
Right.
That doesn't come back. I know I can probably help other fighters that this doesn't happen to them. But I feel in some ways I do help in that way. I can't save all the fish. I can't. No matter if I try it. I mean, I'm just trying to find. I guess I'm trying to find a reason to want to live. Because my wife used to tell me, or even tell me, aren't your kids good enough reason? Even this is before we had kids. Or I mean, I'm someone that grew up sort of in a big family, but yet I always felt by myself alone. Even now, I'm like, I felt ashamed when this happened, tragedy with Jimmy, that my kids they didn't know much about boxing. I never told them much about it at all. Now because of the internet, now they know. But you know, they would they their friends at school would tell them, your dad dead, isn't your dad boxer? Like, no. I mean, they know, so now they know a lot because, like I said, the internet. But I try to keep them away from it. I felt more when this happened with Jimmy. I felt ashamed that they were knowing that his dad was the one that killed the fighter. I felt embarrassed. So I didn't. I wanted to keep them from it.
Yeah.
Because I felt ashamed. Felt ashamed of that. Yeah, and it's painful a lot of times when people can see it on you. A lot of times people just, they come up to me. They're like, hey, it's like, oh my God. I'm like, are they reading it on my face? And my wife would tell me, Gabriel, you walk with this thing on your head when people can see it. People, especially people that sort of know you. And some people that don't even know you, they just, because of they know what happened with you. I'm like, well, shit, how the hell do they know? It could be something else. They're like, well, that's, you think whatever, but they see it. They see it, and stop. You gotta stop walking with this, this guilt thing and guilt conscience.
Yeah, with your head down.
With your head down. But I mean, like I said, I don't know. I'm just, I'm just weighing the light. I'm just the wind. I don't know. That.
And it's just intriguing to know that how when somebody passes, how it affects them forever. And I'm talking to you. You're telling me everything. It obviously intrigues people enough to like where they write a book about you and they make a movie about you, but yet you're the one still suffering from all the pains and all the hurts and everything that's gone on your professional and personal life. How did you come back after that fight with Jimmy? And how did you come back and how did you feel in the ring after that?
I was trying to obviously show everyone or myself that this didn't affect me. That I'm okay. I can fight. I will have the same feelings that I had to go out there and kick some butt, and I didn't. I felt. I guess I was traumatized, and that messed me up because I started having visions of like things that I was seeing that happened in the fight. I mean, it was just I guess it's called trauma. I didn't believe it, but
And it showed a lot because the first I remember the fight that you had in Azteca there in El DF in Mexico, the first one against Zuma Nelson, the first fight, and it was very different from seeing you then and seeing you, of course, to the fight after Jimmy Garcia. The first guy you fought was Zuma Nelson again,
yeah,
right after that, and it was a totally different you. I mean, and I think people knew it, and I think people saw it, and the outcome very much showed it.
believe me, that fight I was so sick. I was, I made myself sick. I guess by me, just like I said, it's called trauma. I guess, you know, I was so good. I just felt, I don't know. I was someone that grew up thinking that I was gonna die at a very young age. I was having dreams of dying young, or in a car accident, or different ways of dying. That I really had no one to cry to because the family that I grew up with here, they were my family, but I didn't really grow up with them. I mean, they were family that they were brothers and sisters, but I didn't really know them because we came out here to the States, my brother and I, at a very young age, where it felt different.
While you were fighting Zuma in the ring that day, did you have flashbacks of Jimmy Garcia?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought that I even saw him when Azuma hit me, and when I went down, I looked at the corner and I thought I saw Jimmy Garcia like smiling at me, like making fun of me.
And how often do you dream of that?
No, that stopped. Like ever since then, I never dreamed it anymore. But at that time I wish that I had dreams of him because I always felt like I kicked your ass here. When I die, I'm gonna kick your ass up there too. Because I felt so. I was pretty mad at him. I just felt that all of us athletes are our job is to train well, to train to try to do everything that we can to be in great shape for the fight, and so that way we can try at least to prevent some things like that from happening. And I feel that because the stories that I heard that he lost so much weight in so few days. I mean, I just thought that those were things that he should have taken care of, that made sure that he shouldn't have done. But yet again, you can also maybe blame his parent, his dad, the one in the corner, or his brother, or other people around him. That's why I said that you can point a lot of fingers when you point. If you want to start pointing fingers, that a lot of people didn't do their job, and I was upset at him for that.
Do you think referee Mitch Halpern felt a lot of it too?
Well, him too. I mean, but look at him. He's dead though now. I mean, I know he went through a lot. I mean, my wife spoke with I don't know if it was his wife or his sister, someone. She spoke with them, and another lady that was very close with Jimmy Garcia, Jabina, I forget her last name. She died too. She some car accident. She's the person that Jimmy Garcia, like, before the fight, I guess she gave her some box of stuff to hold for her. Like, he knew some. I don't know why she even said she didn't know why he gave her that stuff. He gave her a box of stuff that were inside. Well, I mean, all that I don't know. I learned this phrase from Joe Grissom. Came by a cup of coffee. What is that by? I don't know. I'm just, it is what it is. That same phrase has gotten him into a lot of trouble, but I don't know. I'm just try to get by, get on by, and I think I'm on the right path. Now I'm back from, like I said, I'm sober now. On 6 months, going on 6 months. I don't, I hope never to do it again. To drink. I never in my life had ever had to drink, even my whole boxing career, never. And then, I was just trying to find ways to hurt myself, to get into trouble. I mean, I got my license, my driver's license taken away, my all this stuff that I got myself into, just so many things that I'm, well, what else, whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm trying to walk the right path, and it's just unfortunate, when you come when you're doing that, when you come across people like this lady, Shelly Martinez, the writer for my book. That I thought he was, it was great for me because I thought her and I would co-write this book, do this book, this story, and once he was ready to go out, then she took up by herself, and it's out there right now. It's out there right now, claiming it's her book. And, but like I was saying, who in this case, it's a lot of people. She's got the power. But before you know it, she's gonna find out that me too. I know a lot of people.
I know we talked a lot on the Jimmy Garcia. I thought it was gonna be hard to ask you about it. You told me freely about it. You came up straight up, just like a champ that you are, and talked about it with no problem for people to listen to and to hear it straight from you, not reading it on the book or quoting somebody. They're hearing it from you, exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
And not anybody can do that. Not everybody would do that. And you were man enough to stand up to it. And just like the champ that you are, I hope that you do bounce back.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your interview. I do. I hope people that are listening out there, I don't know, they just have at least a positive thought about myself. If they ever hear something, I don't know, bad, never believe what you hear unless, like you said, unless you hear it from that person itself.